In recent times, Shōgun has been one of the most highly praised streaming programs. James Clavell's 1975 novel served as its inspiration. There was a fantastic 1980 TV miniseries based on the same book. Additionally, there was a well-received, you may have seen the massive VHS collection on your dad's shelf if he was a History Channel viewer in the 90s. The book and its two miniseries give a thorough, fictitious account of the actual Tokugawa shogunate's inception. But what you might not have realized is that they were based on true Japanese history. Therefore, today, we will be discussing the actual events that transpired in Japan following the fall of the shogunate. Prior to anything else, confirm that the Reality Threads channel is in your subscription list. Following that, please inform us in the comments section of any other topics related to Japanese history that you would like us to cover. With a focus on the second word, historical fiction describes Clavell's Shōgun. The real-life narrative of English navigator William Adams and his tenure as a counselor to Japanese feudal lord Tokugawa Ieyasu serves as inspiration for the key connection in the film, which revolves around a European sailor and a powerful feudal lord dealing with a political crisis. The events depicted in the novel mirror those that actually transpired in Japan around the start of the 17th century, near the end of the Sengoku era. During this time, often called the Warring States period, Japan saw a great deal of social and political turmoil. Regional feudal lords took advantage of the weakening central authority of the Ashikaga shogunate to increase their influence, which frequently led to bloody disputes and rivalries. In this context, a small group of influential figures ended the wars by consolidating their authority and gradually usurping the Ashikaga shogunate. They were eventually referred to as the Great Unifiers. A former samurai from humble beginnings, Toyotomi Hideyoshi became one of these unifiers. He effectively became the de facto ruler of Japan, even though he never officially became shogun. In 1598, as his health deteriorated, Hideyoshi appointed a council of 5 elders to govern the country until his son, Hideyori, who was only 5 years old at the time, could mature into the role. The ruler of the Edo province, Lord Tokugawa Ieyasu, was the most influential member of the new council. Along with a group of Dutch merchants, Thomas, William Adams' brother, who was 34 years old at the time, sailed from Rotterdam for the East in 1598. The trip was extremely challenging. Half of the crew contracted a fatal disease during a resupply stop on the African island of Cape Verde. The expedition's captain, Admiral Jacques Mahu, died as a result. That made the entire journey seem much less worthwhile. By the time they arrived in what is now Argentina, the men were already famished. Some had even resorted to eating their own leather goods. The extremely low temperatures in the south caused even more crew members to perish from exposure. On September 15, 1599, the Dutch ships finally reached the Pacific Ocean. After losing more than 100 men, just 23 made it to the island of Kyushu, Japan, on April 19, 1600, following a voyage that had lasted 19 months at sea. By this moment, nearly everyone was either critically ill or had passed away. Only 9 crew members were self-sufficient upon reaching Japan. 11 cargo crates and a stash of weaponry made up the remaining cargo. Avoid inquiring about the mouth-watering leather, though. The series depicts Portuguese Jesuit missionary priests as the sole Westerners presently residing in Japan. They served as the interpreters for Adams and his crewmates. However, the Jesuits, worried about losing favor with the Japanese due to international rivalry, accused Adams and his crew of being pirates and advocated for their execution. On their way to Osaka, Adams and a merchant called Jan Justin van Lodenstein met with Tokugawa Ieyasu, the powerful lord of the Edo region. During their 3 encounters, Ieyasu learned that Adams was an expert navigator and shipwright, making him a more valuable ally than a condemned prisoner. Ieyasu dispatched Adams to Edo to instruct his army in the use of the guns that had accompanied him on his ship. Adams later became a member of Ieyasu's army in Otsu and participated in the pivotal Battle of Sekigahara, which ended the military conflict after a power struggle broke out between Ieyasu and other elder council members. Following his victory at Sekigahara, Ieyasu rewarded the men who had supported him with land and titles, further solidifying his authority over Japan. The real-life ally of Ieyasu, who served as inspiration for Kasigi Yabushige and Shōgun, was Honda Masanobu. Unlike the tragic fate he met in the books and anime, the actual Masanobu became the governor of Sado and continued to be a key supporter of Ieyasu. Even though Hideyori was still a young man, Ieyasu revoked many of the land rights held by his father's opponents while consolidating his rule. Changing his family name was another crucial step in securing Ieyasu's control. Claiming ancestry from the Fujiwara clan strengthened his claim to central power, even though he was initially associated with the Minamoto clan. Since everyone had lied a little during a job interview, Ieyasu began to invent parts of his family history. Emperor Go-Yozei officially appointed Ieyasu shogun in March of 1603. How does a shogun differ from an emperor? That is a fantastic question. The emperor was essentially a God-given authority figure in Japan and the country's top leader. The shogun, on the other hand, served as the head of state in a more hands-on capacity, similar to that of a prime minister. Despite years of fighting and campaigning, Tokugawa Ieyasu was only officially shogun for 2 years. He handed power to his son and successor, Tokugawa Hidetada, in 1605 when he retired from office. The elder Tokugawa was probably relieved of ceremonial obligations, and this transition solidified the succession of power. It was likely all part of a larger strategic plan. He continued to manage the country behind the scenes until his death in 1616. Even though he had become Japan's most powerful lord in the years following Sekigahara, being shogun did not silence his critics entirely. As seen in the show, not all of Japan's feudal lords believed Ieyasu was the rightful choice for the position, or even that his ascent was justified. Many still rallied behind Toyotomi Hideyori, the son of the former leader, even though he was still living in Osaka with his mother. In 1614, the Toyotomi clan reconstructed Osaka Castle, posing a potential challenge to the shogun's authority. Honda Masanobu and his son, Honda Masazumi, were among the Tokugawa shogunate officials who led an army charge on Osaka. In 1615, an army under the command of Tokugawa Hidetada, the third shogun and son of Ieyasu, attacked the newly rebuilt Osaka Castle. Hideyori and his mother committed suicide. The Tokugawa executed the last remaining heirs of the Toyotomi clan, eliminating any challenge to the shogun's legitimacy. The scene bears a striking resemblance to the Godfather's baptism montage, albeit with an increased level of brutality. During this time, William Adams and another trader, Jan Houston van Lodenstein, remained in the service of the Tokugawa clan. Adams did not learn that a ship from the British East India Company had docked in Indonesia until 1611, some 10 years after his arrival in Japan. Finally, he was able to write to his loved ones in England to let them know he was alive. It is uncertain whether Adams ever requested to leave Japan and return home, or if he was simply enjoying his new life there when he was officially granted the freedom to do so in 1613. In recognition of his devotion to the Tokugawa shogunate, Adams was given the Japanese surname Mura Anjin. With his trading license and land near Edo, he was able to start his own business. Having left his wife and child in England, Adams married a Japanese woman and had 2 additional children with her. In 1613, the English East India Company sent the ship Clove, captained by John Saris, to Japan in hopes of establishing a trade presence there. After spending so much time in Japan, Adams struggled to connect with the English seamen and ultimately chose not to return to England with Saris and his crew, even though Tokugawa Ieyasu had authorized their return. Adams remained in Japan for the rest of his life, earning a living by assisting European nations, such as the Dutch and the British, in establishing trade partnerships in the East. His roles included those of interpreter, fixer, and negotiator. A devout Protestant, he was also committed to ending the era of Catholic dominance in Japan's market, which had long been controlled by Portugal and Spain. He helped the Dutch gain control of the port of Dejima by securing exclusive trading rights, effectively cutting ties with Portugal. English merchants were granted permission to build residences in Japan and trade freely in its ports and marketplaces. The British merchants who settled in Hirado made it their permanent home. By the time the Tokugawa shogunate took power, Japan had entered a period of relative peace after years of war. This stability led to a cultural and artistic explosion, giving rise to the ukiyo-e style, which celebrated hedonism and aesthetics. In its most basic sense, ukiyo means floating world. It describes the excitement and sadness of a fleeting moment since it will disappear just as quickly. During this time, unique woodblock prints were created, and kabuki and bunraku theater forms reached the height of their popularity. Adams was dismayed by the slow development of real trade between England and Japan. The exchange of Chinese goods for Japanese silver remained his company's primary source of income, but the journey from Japan to London was considerably shorter. He also attempted to organize expeditions to find the Northwest Passage, a supposed route connecting Asia and Europe that would have allowed for faster shipping, but these plans never materialized. Due to low demand, the English East India Company largely abandoned the Japanese market within a decade. Tokugawa Ieyasu passed away in 1616 at the age of 73, long after his son had gained recognition as the official shogun. Wanting to protect his descendants after his death, he requested to be posthumously deified. Hey, why not? He was granted the new name Tosho Daigongen, meaning Great Avatar of the Eastern Light. Gongen refers to a type of Buddha. By arranging the marriage of Kazuko, daughter of Emperor Go-Mizunoo, the Tokugawa further solidified their dominant political position. In time, their daughter ascended to the throne as Empress Meisho. A soap opera serves as the foundation of any royal hierarchy. In 1618, Adams traveled to Hirado to mediate a dispute between English and Dutch merchants. Seeking assistance from the shogun, he quickly realized that his unique bond with the father had no influence over the son. While on a trading journey to Tonkin, present-day Vietnam, Adams fell ill with a tropical disease. In May of 1620, he passed away in Hirado, Japan, and his possessions were divided between his English and Japanese relatives. By the time word of his bequest reached London in 1622, his English wife, Mary, had already passed away. Surprisingly, Adams wasn't even the last of his original crewmates in Japan. By this time, Melchior van Santvoort and Vincent Romaine had settled into a routine life in Nagasaki. In 1635, Shogun Tokugawa Ieyasu, who succeeded Hidetada, issued the Sakoku Decree, which sought to purge Japan of foreign influence, especially Christianity. After that, all Japanese Americans and individuals of mixed heritage were forcibly removed to Jakarta, Indonesia. This likely included Adams's Japanese children, and, hey, why not? A critically acclaimed limited series based on them could be the next big thing. So, what part of the real Shogun story shocked you the most? Post a comment and let us know. In the meantime, you might enjoy these additional films from Reality Threads.